this video, we're going to see how to play MP3 files on our App Inventor 2 Android app. I have downloaded a program called Audacity that allows me to record using my PC's microphone and then save that in MP3 format. So some of my favorite keyboard shortcuts. The one I've already recorded is Control F4 will allow you to close tabs in Chrome. And then Control Shift T allows you to re-render those tabs in the reverse order. So it's what I call the boss is coming key. Control F4, close the tab when the boss is coming. Control Shift T, re-render that tab as soon as the boss is gone. Also Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, Control 4 allows you to navigate to those tabs in your browser as well. So tab 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. So I've already recorded one of these MP3s. I'm going to record another. I'm going to say File and New, and then I'm going to say Control Shift T allows you to reopen a tab that you have closed. Stop, File. We need to choose Export Audio, and then I'm going to say Control Shift T, and this is MP3 format, and looks that's fine. We'll just keep it like that. And let's do one more. We'll say File and New, and now we're going to say Control 1, Control 2, and Control 3 will allow you to open tabs 1, 2, and 3 in Chrome respectively. Okay, so File, Export Audio again, and we'll call this one Control 1, 2, 3, and then Save. Okay, and that's good. So at this point, I've made 3 recordings. I'm going to run to my App Inventor browser. And there we go. And let me just get this on our screen. And what you can see is there's a media, there's a media box down here. Okay, just a moment. And I'm going to choose Upload File. And I'm going to choose those files that I have just recorded. Just a moment. Too many folders. Okay. And so we're going to grab the MP3. Let's see, it only lets us do one at a time. So 1, and OK. And Control 1, 2, 3. OK, and the next. Control F4. There we go. And finally, we need the Control Shift T. Okay, Control Shift T and open. So you see, now I have these 3 recordings. There we go. Now I have these 3 recordings as part of my program. So what I want to do is use the media and then the player to play them. So I'll drag the player, and we're just going to drop that right there. Hopefully we got it. Whoop, just a moment. We'll try it again. Okay, drag. And this is one of those non-visible components. Now, before we forget, let's rename this, because player 1, button 2, it seems easy to leave their names as they are now, but trust me, when you have a large application, you'll start to forget what player 1 is and button 1 and all that. So I select player, I'm going to choose rename, and I'm going to say Control 1, 2, 3. That's the player, not the MP3. We could say something like Control 1, 2, 3 player to make that clear, but I think we get the idea. Control 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now I'm going to grab another player. We'll grab that, put that on here. Oops, I'm sorry. I keep doing that. Another player. We'll rename this to Control F4. Okay, and one more player. There we go. And this one we're going to rename to Control Shift T. Okay, and now we have it. Now we can navigate to the blocks view. And this app, if you're just seeing this recording for the first time and you haven't seen any of the others, this is an app we've been building for a while. Before we were just using text. So there's some stuff that's already here that we've done before. Nonetheless, I'm going to grab the Control 1, 2, 3 player. And we see there's a little start widget. But the problem is it has one of those dimples that means it needs to be called by an event handler. So we're going to need to make a button that can play this. So I'll go back to Designer View, and I'm going to go to User Interface and Button, and drag the button. Okay. Once again, you see that when we start getting a whole bunch of widgets, the names get confusing. So I'm going to rename this one to Control 1, 2, 3 button, and OK. And the text, I will come down here and say, what does control, we'll shorten it a bit, CTRL 1, 2, 3 do? One thing with Android, I have to caution you, I'm not really doing this as the Android quality guidelines do, but they say to use pictures instead of words. Now think about that. Why do we want to do that? Why would I want to put an icon on here, maybe instead of text? Well, one is that it's quicker for a user to understand what an image of a camera is versus the text that says take photo. But even more importantly, it's better for internationalization. That's less stuff that you have to translate. So do as I say, not as I do. But don't worry, we will have plenty of time to refactor this later. So what does Control 1, 2, 3 do? And then we'll go ahead and set up a few other buttons while we're here. So drag another button. Okay, this one, rename. We're going to say Control F4. Okay. Uh-oh. Control F4 button. We can't have two of the same name, and we choose OK. And text for button 3, again, we're going to say, what does Control F4 do? Okay. And our last button. Okay. And once again, we're going to rename this guy. Control, let's see, we have Control 1, 2, 3. Okay, Control Shift T, and we'll choose OK. Okay, and so I'll scroll down and say Control Shift T. What does Control Shift T do? Okay, so now we have some widgets and we have the players. I go back to Blocks View, and I'm going to say Control 1, 2, 3 button, and we'll come up and grab our event handler, which is click. Just drag it anywhere. Might as well put it towards the bottom. When Control 1, 2, 3 button click, okay, now let's go to the player, and we'll say call Control 1, 2, 3 start. There we go, like so. Whoops, let's get that right in there. Okay, perfect. And I will repeat this for our other buttons. So Control, see how much easier it is to identify these once they've been named. So Control F4 button click, we'll drag this out here. Okay, and Control Shift T. Okay, Control Shift T, click. Whoops. And drag. Whoops, gotta get him over here. Okay, and match them up with their players. So Control Shift T, and we will say start. Okay, and Control F4, here's our Control F4 player. And where'd he go? I know it's right in front of me, it's so hard to find. Control F4 start. Okay, one more thing we need to do though, we need to add the audio to these players. So I click on Control 1, 2, 3. Take a look at source, and you see source, there we go, we'll choose Control 1, 2, 3, and then Control F4 source, Control F4 MP3, that's the file that we uploaded earlier. Control Shift T, you know where this is going, Control Shift T, and OK. Now, this, I have no idea how the audio is going to sound given that I'm recording this with Screencast-O-Matic, and then I'm going to emulate it and play it. We'll do our best, we'll see how it goes. So I have just confirming, I have started the AI starter, the emulator, and I can tell you after having taught this class with Android Studio and Eclipse and dealing with the emulator and those IDEs, it's very good, but slow. And this is really nice to have an emulator that just pops up like this. So, okay, we'll give it a moment to start here. I'll pause the video. And now the emulator's up. Now, actually, I played it quickly before unpausing the video, and actually I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, but it's going to be coming from my computer speakers and re-recording on this recording that you're watching on my computer's microphone. I have no idea how that's going to sound. So here we go. Control 1, Control 2, and Control 3 will allow you to open tabs 1, 2, and 3 in Chrome, respectively. Control F4 will close a tab in Chrome. That one's awfully quiet. Control Shift T allows you to reopen a tab that you have closed. Not bad. So we see that it plays. One trick is, if I click them all, Control-1, Control-2, they all play. Control-3, Control-Shift to open tabs. That sounds a bit messy, doesn't it? The good news is there's a fairly easy fix for this. I'm going to go back to blocks. You might have noticed when I was on the player, Control-1, there is an other player started option. So that actually listens for somebody else plugging in and using the audio player. And so what I can do, that's an event handler. So what I can do is I can say, okay, Control-1, 2, 3, pause. So I could do that with all the handlers, but you get the idea. I'll just do it for Control-1, 2, 3, and then we'll try it out. And again, my apologies if you can't hear the audio well. My speakers are all the way up. But what you'll hear is I'm going to play Control-1, 2, 3, and then Control-Shift-T. You'll hear 1, 2, 3 pause, and then Control-Shift-T start. And then when Control-Shift-T finishes, Control-1, 2, 3 starts again. Well, try it one more time, sorry. Okay, so let me see. I know that was soft. That was here. Let me see if I can crank it up a little bit more. Try that one more time. But it did indeed pause. I said it would. I did say one thing incorrectly. It did pause Control-1, 2, 3. It didn't automatically restart it. But if I click it now, it will pick back up where it left off when it was paused. So that way we can kind of be a little bit proactive about how we are playing these and make sure that they're not walking on each other. So that's a quick video on how to capture sound, upload sound, and play sound with App Inventor 2. In our next video, we're going to take a look at images. I mentioned that pictures are better than words. So we will take a look at images and how we can use images on our button like this. We'll see you then. Thank you.